Welcome back to another episode of Real Chums. We're chatting about movies, feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me as always is my co-host, Danny.
This week we discuss West Side Story, the 2021 adaptation directed by Steven Spielberg, the GOAT, based on the iconic Broadway musical, which itself reimagined Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet against the backdrop of the 1950s New York.
In this episode, we will explore how Spielberg's adaptation both honors and reinterprets the stage production. We also examine its characters and themes and discuss the film's visual and emotional impact. But before we roll that intro, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
Conversation by following us on YouTube at Real Chums or any other socials.
With that said,
let's roll that intro. All right, I have the question of the day.
Ooh, yeah.
And we got ourselves another bad review.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you have to guess what this movie is.
Is this a movie from the last year?
No, this is a movie from our childhood.
From our childhood? Dang, dude. Okay.
But it's connected to
this.
In a way, to West Side Story that we're talking about today.
Okay.
Okay. 1 star, titled A Wonderful Example of Marketing.
Okay.
What a great example of taking a children's kindergarten story and marketing it as the science fiction masterpiece of our time. For those of you too young to remember its initial release, that is exactly how the film was marketed to the viewing public. Then came the toys, the dolls, the games, the Happy Meals, all created prior to the film's debut so that X person could buy another yacht. The entire movie was filmed with gimmicks from AT&T's buy-in of... I can't say this thing. It's going to give it away.
Okay.
To the film's 2-hour commercial for a candy. Let's not forget how this ground-sinking anti-epic was also springboarded to Drew Barrymore's extensive film career, which hit a pinnacle when she exposed her breasts to David Letterman on The Late Show. Her dad must have been very proud. Blank should stand for extreme torture. This film rates 10 on the Pucometer.
Okay. So Drew Barrymore's in it. It's somehow tied to our movie today of West Side Story. Is it directed by Steven Spielberg?
Yes.
Oh, E.T.?
Yes. Isn't that a great review? 1-star review.
When did this guy write this review?
2010. Oh, sorry. I forgot to say it's from _cinema.
So. Come on, man. Why are you hating on E.T., dog?
Dude, it's pure example of wonderful marketing so that Steven Spielberg could get his own yacht.
Could get another yacht, right? Another one.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, so.
So funny. I just...
This guy.
I love these 1-star reviews.
They're great.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we're back. I had to get with another Broadway musical adapted to a film. Now, this one is not new to the big screen,
right?
But it's 2021 release, bringing from Spielberg, who had not. When's the last time he'd done a film?
Before West Side Story?
Yeah.
Dude, no. Homeboy's been...
he's been cooking.
Yeah. Right before this, he did... So he had done Ready Player One in 2018.
With Egot. Or, wait, no, not Egot. What's his name? Yeah, no.
With Elgort Ansel?
Elgort Ansel.
Was he in that? Nah, dude.
I thought he was...
No, the main character is the guy that plays Cyclops. Ty Sheridan.
Oh, they look like the same person in my brain.
They do kind of look the same.
Dude, okay.
Sure,
listen,
I'll give you that.
Right? They're like, from a distance, you'd be like, wait, is that the same person walking together? Like, do they duplicate each other?
Typical comment from you, Danny, especially now that we're talking about sharks and jets. All white people look the same to you.
Savage, bro. Hey, don't be throwing me under the bus like that.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, so this is after Ready Player One, which wonderful. Which I had a great time with Ready Player One.
I did too.
But this teams up Steven Spielberg and what's his face, Tony Kushner. Now Tony Kushner
and Arthur Lawrence.
Yes. So they did the Post together, Lincoln.
Yeah.
A lot of big hits. And when you team up Kushner and Steven Spielberg together, like it's just they're cooking, man. They're doing some great stuff. Before we jump into it, I want to just get your initial impressions of West Side Story. What's your relationship with this? Give me 2-3 things that you like or don't like, and then I'll give a quick synopsis.
I think it's like everyone. I think I initially watched. I don't think I've ever seen the play. No, I have not seen the play.
Not even like a high school production. Or
Oh
anything
no,
like that.
you're right. That's a lie. I have. Yeah, I've seen a couple high school. I've seen I think 2 versions of the West Side Story high school production.
Okay.
One was on a date, and another one was for it was because like it was I don't know if it was anyways, but yeah, did do West Side Story. Always a good time. Yes, truly really great play. I think.
Yeah.
Even for high school, like I think it's fine. And then the West Side Story, I'd watched it in school in some class. I'm sure I can't remember which one, but I'm sure there, and always enjoyed the story. Like it's close to home, land immigrant coming in, trying to being you're pushing more coming in. Anyways, just great stuff. Okay, this adaptation though, Spielberg's. Look, I am absolutely here for the cinema. I'm here for the cinema, baby. This movie is oozing with cinema, of the cinematography, the classic Spielberg, the use of shadows, the use of set pieces, and overall just top enjoyable filmmaking. This adaptation. I thoroughly enjoyed so I served when I served the mission for the church. I served in Hartford, Connecticut. Now Hartford, Connecticut has one of the largest populations of another large population of Puerto Ricans outside of New York.
Oh, okay.
And so there's tons of Puerto Ricans. And so Boricuas are like there's some special people. I love them so much. I love the culture, the vibe that they bring. There's such interesting people. And I think this movie just, again, emphasizes the fact that, like, they came in and they wanted to own who they were. And, like, I don't know, just great stuff. Some things I don't know if there's not much. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to sugarcoat it here. There's some moments where, like, it just slightly drags.
Oh, really?
For me, I think it could have been when I watched it. Maybe it could have been, I don't know, but not in a bad way. Just like if it's a long movie.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's like 2 hours and 40-ish.
2 hours and 40 minutes. 38. I don't know. Anyways,
it is long.
And so like, there's just some moments. I don't know. It's just so good. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about my relationship with West Side Story.
Yeah.
I love West Side Story. I think the first time I watched it was obviously the 1960s movie.
Yeah.
And it was after we had read Romeo and Juliet, which I hate Romeo and Juliet.
Do you? Okay. I have questions.
Please, I love to open up this can of worms. I hate Romeo and Juliet.
I also hate Romeo and Juliet. Do you hate every adaptation of Romeo and Juliet?
I've only seen the like that.
No. I mean, like, people leveraging the story of Romeo and Juliet in some other medium, in some other form. Like, there's a movie on Hulu called, I think it's called Juliet, but it's literally Romeo and Juliet, but it's like from the girl who's in love with the boy who falls in love with Julie. Like, it's like, it's a super funny. It's like,
okay.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's great.
I can't say that I don't like other adaptations because I don't think I've seen a lot of them.
That's fair.
I'll tell you right now, I haven't seen Romeo and Juliet, that cartoon one.
I love that movie. It's so fun. It's not like my top, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah,
let me just say, I love Noam, so there's that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't know that I hate. I remember when we finished reading the book, and I was just like, why? Like this is Shakespeare's like big.
Oh, I know.
Like hit. Like why?
Which one's better? Which one do you love out of the Shakespeare? Like,
I'm a big Hamlet fan.
Ooh, Hamlet. I'm a big Midsummer Night's Dreams.
Okay, yeah.
Puck. I love Puck.
I just love Hamlet. I just love the drama there.
Yeah.
The deceit, the killing. We should do, side note, we should do, what's his face? Denzel Washington.
Oh, yes.
His version of Hamlet.
Have you watched it?
I started it on a flight. And then I had finished the movie. I'm like, I need to see this, and I started, and I was just hooked. And then I landed. I'm like, I need to finish this movie, and I haven't finished it. But
wait, you didn't finish it?
I didn't finish it. I started it, and I didn't finish it because I had started another movie, watched that, and then I had like an hour left on my flight, and then I started it. But yeah, I didn't finish it. But going back to West Side Story, I love West Side Story. I watched it the 1960s version after reading Romeo and Juliet. Hated Romeo and Juliet. Fell in love with West Side Story. I was that kid who was like, this isn't cool. What is this, right? But like deep down inside, I was like, oh, this movie is so beautiful. Like I just love it, right? I was that kid. It was like no, and like
dude, I feel like this is iconic. This is
yeah.
You just the perfect description of Marshall. No, this is whatever. Cool.
Secretly in my journal, I have never resonated so much with the character.
Maria,
Tony. No, and so like I just and then I've talked about how I was in jazz band. So my audition to jazz band was a rendition of Maria on my saxophone. And over the years, I like tweaked my own rendition and made it very like just. I'll toot my horn here. Like I just did a beautiful rendition of Maria.
Where's the saxophone, bro? Why didn't you bring it?
and so like. And then and other songs from West Side Story that I also like did a jazz renditions to them. I love West Side Story.
There's
and then when I heard that what's his face Spielberg was he's over the years has talked about his love for West Side Story, and I was like why man? And then this came out, and this is one of those movies where it's just so freaking good, and sometimes you look like this isn't a remake of the movie, rather it's just an adaptation of the play, right? And it's just like like you, sir, have once again. This is why I love you. I don't know you, Steven. No, but I love you.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to really discuss why this movie is.
Thanks for listening to Real Chums. Before we jump into the full discussion of this episode, we wanted to invite you to join our email list where twice a month we share what we've been watching, our TV and movie recommendations, and commentary on the biggest headlines in the movie industry directly to your inbox.
This is just the start of what we have planned for our content. And by subscribing, you're getting the best seats in the house for what's to come. So head over to realchums.com/newsletter to sign up today.
Now back to the show.
Okay, so now that we're back, let's do a quick synopsis, and then let's jump into this movie. So, movie takes place in 1950s New York. West Side Story follows two young lovers, Tony and Maria, who are caught in the crossfire between two rival gangs, the Jets and the Sharks. As they fall for each other, they dream of escaping the prejudice and violence that surrounds them, facing obstacles that ultimately lead to tragic consequences.
Okay, listen. I want to start by setting. We opened up last. You brought up the question that we need to be top of mind at all of our when we watch these films, which is why do an adaptation of a Broadway musical to film? Now, there's already been a film of West Side Story, so the question begs to differ: is why do it again? Mm-hmm. Now, I think the legend the icon of Spielberg coming in and producing a film, getting this another take in his flavor, in his vision, is absolutely legendary. This movie has so much fantastic magic.
Yes.
That's all you can describe. Okay, to me, number one, top. You mentioned this last week. You're like, I wanted the music. I want the dancing. I want the this movie
Has it.
Okay, check. Okay, when it comes to the music, the musicality, not only the music, but the just like I feel like the amplitude of this music always tells a story, but the music in this film in particular, I feel like just amplifies the story.
Yes.
100%. Okay. Finally, the performances. We talked about this. Like, how do you find somebody who can sing, can act and sing in as if you're there, like you're not just like on stage, but like the up close personality of the emotions that you can provide. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ansel, freaking, and Rachel. I mean, I remember when they announced Rachel as for Maria.
This was her debut film.
This is her debut film, and people were like,
"What? Who is this?
Who's this? Are they going to do that? Like, why?"
I think I read over 30,000 women audition for this role. That's a lot.
That's a lot, and having to sit through that. And I don't look. Kudos to the team.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to say, Rachel absolutely is magical.
Yes. And Ariana DeBose, I mean, obviously she got her Oscar win for her role here.
Yes.
But like she just brings such rawness and like just pure talent and rawness to it.
Authenticity, dude. Like, oh man,
dude, as Anita, like she just kills it.
Okay, I want to about Riff. How do you feel about Riff and Bernardo?
I really like Riff. I really like this version of Riff, and I think let's dig into it. So, I mean, the movie really gives you a little bit more backstory of like this gentrification that's happening in 1950s New York.
Yeah.
Right. And how people and neighborhoods are getting torn down and people are getting kicked out of their apartments, their neighborhoods, etc. And we get more of this background on the Jets, right? And especially Riff, who I love this dialogue that what's his face has, that Tony has about Riff. Like he was also like you, Sharks.
Yeah.
Has no prospects, like no future. Or no.
When he's talking to Maria, I think is he on the bus?
I think yes.
They're going on a date, and she's like, "Why can't you stop it? Like, Then he's like, "No, he has no, but like,
he has nothing.
Nothing.
He comes from nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And even Officer, what's his face, Lieutenant Schrank, even like just tears them apart. Like the Jews, the Irish, they all got out of here.
But
you guys are the ones that are left behind because your parents didn't even want you in the first place, and like he just tears them up. Oh. Like in Riff, like there is this. He plays this role of being this leader to the Jets, but deep down inside, this is a troubled individual who has so much pain and conflict. And a rough upbringing, and you get that from these little lines throughout the movie, but also from the performance of Mike Feist as he plays out this character of Riff.
Yeah,
I really love this version of Riff.
I wish I'd noted it down, but I love Riff and Tony when Riff's like coming. We get the reveal of Tony. And he's trying to convince him to come to the dance. And, they have a dialogue. And it's, it's from two different perspectives, right? Riff is from, and I think he says ultimately, like, I don't care what people think of me, and I don't care what I think about. Like I don't have, or like it, like that's essentially I am nothing.
Yeah.
That's this feeling, right? I am nothing, and it doesn't matter.
And and I love more of this like background or this character development. Because I think oftentimes I'm just like, freaking kids, like just get over it, like grow up, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, like there's real need to be validated to find belonging and identity for these characters, and for Riff, right? He has found that through his friend Tony, through this group of the Jets, and he doesn't have that at home.
Yeah.
And for him, like, yeah, he's willing to fight and die and perhaps kill for this adopted family, where he has found belonging and identity. And I just think, it's beautiful. I love also more of like, let's talk about Tony. I love that we get a little bit more of his background, right? He spent a year
Upstate
prison for almost killing some kid, and we don't know, like he just says this kid, right? Could have been a kid, could have been someone just a year younger than him, but whatever it is, like this is he was the former leader of the Jets, and
he also, you know, to a degree, he at least had some level of, I mean Rita Moreno, who plays Valentina, who married, you know, Puerto Rican, who marries a white guy who was a physician who had a better life, gets semi-classified as not Puerto Rican because of that from the Jets, but sees these boys and ends up caring for Tony, right? So we get that fondness, but that he grew up there, and because he had time to have to his circumstances taken away and put in a place, he had time to. Like, I looked inside myself.
Yeah.
And I realized that that I didn't like who I was looking at. Right? I love that perspective that we get from Tony in this adaptation for sure.
What is it about? How do you feel about the chemistry relationship between Tony and Maria? What does this movie do differently to help enhance that, or does it do anything different in your opinion?
Okay, so one, the music. I mean, the music's over there, but I don't know if it's the mix. I don't know what it is, but the breakdown. I love the dissonance of the music and the different resolutions / the major keys and minor keys of the different songs help just to amplify the story. I love it. You know, we get as Bernardo and the crew and Anita and the crew are coming to the dance. We know it's coming, and they open up the doors, and the music just hits us. And as we get into this scene, we see the dancing, but it shifts into such a dissonance connection that levels what's like the eggshells that are there.
Yeah.
And then we get this wonderful, and here's one of those things. You know, Spielberg comes in. I love that, you know, that both Maria, but I love that Tony gets this he gets this spotlight. They're spotlights, but they're not full spotlights. It's like they're cutting the light to just showcase on the eyes.
Yes.
And the whole this feels. Here's what this is again. I think that the reveal for both of them is absolutely is the level of what movie adaptations can bring to plays, because we get foreground, you know, like we get actions of like we're seeing them through all the dancing that's happening, but it's staged. And even though it's a staged environment that they're in, they've amplified it for this moment, even though there's like excessive lights in this realization. And to me, I think honestly, one of my biggest things is that I love when they're under the bleachers and Anita is like there's just the chemistry's palpable, and Anita goes in for the kiss, and he's like caught off guard. I've been in those situations, and I like, of course, like the connection of wanting to, you don't know this person, you have this palpable desire, you're drawn to them, not only like for some mystical reason, but this physical reason, wanting to go in for a kiss. That I think what beautifully sets the stage for them and their desire to want to be together.
Yeah.
Despite the odds.
And then on top of that, you have we talked briefly about the date scene, right? You take moment in this date scene for these characters to know their motives, their decisions, their actions, right?
But also a little bit of like disagreement, like
yes,
like understanding that they come from different worlds.
They come from different worlds. They have different perspectives, right? And it's a healthy argument that they have here.
Oh, wonderfully put.
I love that that we decide to take time to show these two characters have a healthy argument on this, and why Tony doesn't agree, but he empathizes with the Jets. Which gives him that ability to connect with Maria, and why the Sharks also are doing what they're doing, right? And so I love that the movie takes time to do that. It isn't just love at first sight. Yes, there is that connection, but there's also something deeper and meaningful between these two characters, and we get that, and we have that slight payoff there at the museum where they kind of share their vows to each other, right? And I think that's something beautiful that the movie does in making us want these characters to be together.
Yeah. I have a question then. Do you feel like Maria and Tony's love for each other, when Tony kills Bernardo and Tony returns, does that land for her not wanting him to go turn himself in? I know, we know the story that like it goes. It's we know where it's going, but like, yeah, does it? Do you feel like it's just as good as all the other moments?
Him not going and turning himself in, is
that whole scene?
Okay, yeah. I think, it's, look, you have to suspend some disbelief, right? I don't know if I would be comfortable with my partner killing my best friend. Family member, right? Yeah, family member. I don't know. But, like, I think the movie does a fine enough job, especially in this date scene.
Is this always been... Is this the one thing in this whole scene, this whole movie, in every single, that you just have to like...
You just have to kind of be like, okay, sure, whatever. Yeah, I think that's just how it is. But I think going back to that date scene, because we do take time to establish an actual relationship, I think there is something that happens within Maria that says, okay, like, sure, let's say it was an accident. Yeah, okay, it's an accident, but like I understand why in the heat of the moment you retaliated. And we also as an audience understand that Tony has violent tendencies, right? We see that because that's why he ended up in jail.
Yeah.
Right? And we also see why Tony has such a love for Riff, because he's expressed, this unfortunate upbringing that he has had.
Yeah.
And so the reason why he reacted to that out of love, out of hate, out of just heat of the moment, it makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, it's just one of those things I think you just have to suspend a little disbelief on.
Actually, I really enjoyed this. I think you do, but I do think that I appreciate the performances from both of the actors. Mm-hmm. Specifically, we have, I just love the line that, don't, like, if you go, how am I ever supposed to forgive you?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, that that is a powerful line to a degree that she understand to a I think it's a lot happening. Like how do you process all that in the West
Sure.
Street? But like at the end of the day, like you just you had a plan. You knew that something was going to happen, possibly happen. You never know what's in a situation like this. That's the world they lived in, right? And having this forbidden love, you might do crazy, stupid things. So, anyways, I just, I had to throw it out there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I want to talk a little bit about. Let's talk about like Steven Spielberg, his style in filming for this.
I want to know just give it to me why you love it. Because I know you do.
So a couple of years ago, I watched the movie An American in Paris. I don't know if you've seen it.
I think I have.
Gene Kelly. It is probably like one of my top 3 musicals. Like we'll add this to the docket. I love An American in Paris. I think it's funny. It's super funny. The songs are wonderful. The choreography, like it's everything that I want in a musical.
In a musical.
And Gene Kelly obviously is just great.
Yeah.
But I finally got around to watching that, and then I did like a little I had like a little Gene Kelly.
Like, what do you call it?
And what's the word I'm looking for?
I know there's like a word.
Gene Kelly awakening, so to speak, right? And I was reading it. He once said, I wish I could. I'll try to find the line or the quote. But he was being interviewed, and he said that something that's very unique about musicals and choreography is that he always tries to have his directors and cinematographers really have a lot of movement with the camera. And the reason being is because then it helps make the camera part of the choreography.
Yeah.
But as well, like if he ever messes up or anything, like it almost feels like it's part of the choreography because the camera's moving along with him. And I just think so. Janusz Jaminski is the cinematographer for this. He's incredible, obviously. Minority Report. We need to do Minority Report also.
Yeah. Okay, it's on the dock.
But anyway, this movie, even like the opening scene, right? You have the overhead shot. We're getting the setting of this New York. It almost feels like a post World War II Germany environment, right? Lots of grays and buildings torn down. But like you have this beautiful like overshot view, and then it like comes down and it like weaves through the buildings, through the construction as the jets are coming into the scene, into the camera, into the shot, and then as they're following around. And going back to the gym scene, there is just this beautiful, like, it almost feels like an action movie.
Oh, that's yes.
And which we've talked about this in our action movies, but like there is a very thin line between musicals and action movies. The choreography, the camera movement, and there are a lot of musicals that the camera is put and we get to see everyone doing everything, and then we cut and we kind of see like over the top shot. But in this movie, it's a dance. Like it's fluid, and the camera moves, especially in that gym scene. Like it just cuts through people, and there's a beautiful use of like lens flares, like not extreme use like J.J. Abrams in the Star Trek movies, but like there's this beautiful use of lens flares, and it just adds to like the whimsicalness of it all.
Great.
Right? And I love, I mean, in my opinion, and you can go back to our episode on Jurassic Park, like there is no one in Hollywood that knows how he wants a camera to move like Steven Spielberg.
And I mean, I think, yeah, 100%. Here's the thing. Him coming in and doing this film just absolutely solidifies why, if done well, can just elevate the story of this Broadway, icon of this Broadway love that people have for the play, because we're in New York. You feel New York at this time period, like you said.
Yeah.
I also love this costuming. I love just the snapping as that as you get the opening scene, but we're moving along throughout the city. We're getting the introduction. Like, you get this in, like, when you see in the play, it happens, but it's like I just love that it's like it's a journey.
Yes.
Even from the beginning, right? I absolutely love riffs and Tony's gunfight with this, like, boy, and depicting that there the tension there, and the piers holes, and this little, again, the choreography of action, and then again when towards the end, when they go to for the rumble, the use of shadows of
Yes.
Cutting to, how easy would have been to, not easy, but like, to the shot of each of the each people coming up to the doors as like a profile shot, and then like the shot is you're as the doors open, you're waiting for the anticipation of each of the reveals and of what that's going to happen. No, the use of shadows give us a different perspective. These boys depicted as men in what as the shadows, because that's what they feel like they have to take care of.
Yes.
Right. Coming face to face with the reality of what they're going to come to do.
It's beautiful.
And we talk about, these are the big step, but the small ones, I love the Coming to America, the opening part of that, as they have this intro fight with Maria, just saying they've come from the dance. Bernardo's like trying to play there, and I absolutely love the fight between the opening to that. Just feels so real that Bernardo like tries to play off Anita, even though he just told her he wants 6 kids. And then she goes, no, this world is amazing, with the performance and the connection as they go and play out. And again, another journey. Like, we're going from one journey to another journey to another journey to another journey. It's just so great.
I love that sequence, the America song.
It's so good.
We talk about like why adapt a stage musical to the screen, right? And in this case, like, Steven, one thing about this movie, like, it doesn't feel like it's shot in the lot, right? Like the Warner Brothers lot. No. It feels more grand at scale, right? And that, especially that musical number, as they're going from like crossing the streets, in the middle of the street, from like store to store, like, you're using the space around you. You're enhancing the choreography. You're leveraging beautiful colors, and this is supposed to be like early in the morning, but you have this beautiful lighting that just enhances, in this case, Ariana DeBoss's like physicality and just her ability to move on screen, and just, oh my gosh, like, I just love that scene. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's things like these. It's directorial choices like these that made me fall in love with movies, right?
Yeah.
And I love the 1960s West Side Story. And had I seen this as a kid, this new one, as a young boy, like, I just, like, this is the movie. These are the movies that make me fall in love with cinema, right? Because you're leveraging all of the tools under your directorial belt to say what lighting can we use and how do we position it? How do we have the camera weave in and out and end up in this high shot after being like all the way down here, and we're not necessarily going to cut, we're going to weave it in and place it at the top, and how are we going to have people position in their choreography and the singing? Like, it's all these elements brought in at once to enhance this movie experience.
I would even say this, with Sarah Brochar and Michael Kahn, who are the editors for this film, like I mean, without a doubt, they're working with, you're working with, the prime steaks here with top level ingredients. So that, there's not, you have great stuff, but there's some cuts in here that are just like some of the cut on actions that we have throughout this film at different moments are they just hit so hard to the feeling that we're wanting to do, right? The thing here that I think that sometimes it gets hard to do, and like I'm still learning this, is the level of what is it that we want people to feel, right? What do we want people to feel? What do we want people to feel? We say this like time and time again. Like, we want films that make us feel.
Yep.
Jersey Boys had a small moment of like, oh, what does brotherhood really mean? But it never settles.
Yeah.
The thing here, what I think this movie isn't, this adaptation, I don't necessarily is not the love aspect of Tony and Maria. Yes, is strong, but to me, it's the vision that they're the same, but they're so different. And what they same in what they want, but different because of who they are. And that is what the beauty of the feeling of this story in what they've showcased here. To me, at the end of the day, I think like the consequences have real impact, just on individuals throughout time and circumstances. Consequences and circumstances can really affect how things play out, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's so great. This, I think ultimately, like at the end of the day, like, I love that Chino, this good boy, portrayed, we know, but like the end scene, having him shooting Tony, and the way they go about, like, I don't know, it really slows at this time period of the film, and I think it just amplifies the conclusion of this film, which is what we'll get.
And I think like it's the movie, the story, right? It still resonates so much. Not just its love themes, but like its themes on prejudice, on like generational violence, right?
Yeah.
These generational cycles of hate and violence, of prejudice, of racism. And look, we're not gonna get political, but like just even a couple like weeks ago, right? The comments made about Puerto Ricans by by Trump and like what that means, and like we continue to see these, unfortunately, these prejudices and this racism still today.
I think I truly do appreciate some of the early dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
It is so well done for this film.
Yeah.
And I think it was so needed. Like, cause like I love that it really does resonate still today. And I love the line, like, oh, like, so there's a line in the opening as they've like had their initial tussle of the fact that they are a territory, but are they part of the U.S. or are they not part of the U.S.?
Mm-hmm.
In Puerto Rico, I remember being in school and having Miss Rasmussen, who was my U.S.
Shout out.
She hated people chewing gum, hated people chewing gum, but she had a love for American history. And there was a moment she's like, that she's like, like in your lifetime you will see Puerto Rico be made a state. And I remember being a kid thinking, man, that'd be pretty cool. Have that like be solidified. And yet I'm here today, and yet that's not. And I'm convinced that no, it happened. They're not gonna do it.
It's yeah, no, and I think like going back to like that opening lines, like they're hard to hear, like they're very rough, but they're very like they resonate, right? This is how people viewed them. This is how people continue to view them.
Yeah.
And view immigrants, view people that are different from both sides, right? You have the group, the Jets that feel like they're being taken over, that their sense of identity is no longer priority or
the value
or valued. Yes, I love that in that opening sequence. Right, they're leaving the construction site, and they go up to this, I don't know, a bodega or whatever it is, and they tear down the sign, and just to show that underneath it was like an Irish bar.
Yes,
right. Like you take moments like these to show, like, okay, yeah, I see why you feel like this group of people are coming over and taking over, but the movie does a great job of showing why these individuals are looking for opportunities. And you have the song, like I love to live in, I want to live in America, and the dialogue between the men and the women, and how maybe it's not this great dream, and what are we sacrificing, and is the sacrifice worth the reward to live here, and it's just beautifully done and depicted. And it's an opportunity for us to have these conversations of like what is the American dream, and for natives and for immigrants, right?
Yeah.
I just love this movie so much.
So much.
So much.
Officer Krupke. Standout performance of like musical.
What's your favorite musical piece here?
I think it has like, I think it's, Coming to America, the America song.
Okay.
Like it's just so much about it. I love the story that evolves. I love the camera movements. I love the performances from the actors. It's just top notch. But I also really enjoyed the G. Officer Krupke.
It's a fun one.
It's like, I feel like it's in the middle. We get with Anita. With what's her name? Ariana DeBose.
Mm-hmm.
Her musicality, her performance, her skill, and then we get the boys, and the Jets depicting for what's his bucket, the young one who got his ear nailed in, and reiterating that, what are they gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do with this kid? He just gets passed around yet again, and no one really wants to take ownership and help. They just nope.
The system just wants to push him off, cycle him through.
Yeah, cycle him through and push, and then it gets pushed out, and he's back to square one, right?
Yeah.
And both those, I think, to me, they're really great. When it comes to, because it's like music, it's like story. I don't know, it's just great. I just love it.
Look, I'm a sucker for the gym scene.
It's great.
I love a good dance off. We talked about my favorite part of Greece, right? Was the gym dancing. I think more than anything, I just love the lighting in that scene.
It is truly magical.
Like, it's just, I think this is one of the first times where like the lighting really like stood out to me, and like the purpose it served. Maybe not the first time, but like it's just, I really appreciated. And in that scene, like you have like these, I don't even know, you probably know, like they almost seem like these big floodlights.
Yeah.
Right, and they're just shining.
Yeah.
There, and you have Maria and Tony like that walk right in between, and you have like they're just white bright lights, and then you have some like mood colored lights off to the side, and you're getting that like lens glare, and it's just I just love that, and but like the whole choreography of it all. I love the Maria.
It's really good.
It's good. I think, but I'm a sucker for that gym scene. It's perfect. It's perfect cinema. Put that one meme of what's his face, Martin Scorsese saying, "This is cinema."
Yeah, I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Last, I want to talk the final scene.
Yeah.
Anita goes to tell Valentina, right? She gets jumped, harassed, attacked by the Jets. So she tells them, you know what? Chino found the gun, killed Maria. She's not coming, and she leaves, right? And so then Valentina goes and tells Tony. One, I actually really liked Ansel's performance there.
Ansel, you've not seen Baby Driver.
I have not.
Ansel plays.
He plays Baby Driver,
and
right?
Again, phenomenal. Ansel, he's a standout. I really, really enjoy him on screen. There's something about him. He's great. It's funny because I recently rewatched the Divergent series, and he plays Caleb, who's the brother to what's your bucket, who like the female, and I'm like, oh, he's like, this is like him coming in, and I haven't fully finished, but I started him in Tokyo Vice, which is on, I think it's on Max. It's a Max original.
I've heard it's good.
It is phenomenal.
Oh, he's in that.
He's in it.
Oh,
And
okay.
He's with with Ken Watanabe,
Oh, okay.
and their performances together there's something. He just this performance you love. If you love Ansel in this, you're gonna love him in Tokyo Vice.
Oh, it's like on its second season?
Yeah,
Dang. Okay. I'm gonna watch it.
it's phenomenal. It truly it's a little bit it's definitely more mature. So if you're not, for those who are out there who like don't watch more mature style stuff, but it is top level TV for sure, and I think it's underrated. And I think it's because there's some Japanese, but he's just, I don't know, he's got gravitas on camera. I feel like he's got a Tom Cruise early vibe of like he's really good looking.
Yeah.
He's great on camera. He's got a performance, but I don't necessarily, he's not making as big of wins as Tom Cruise was making.
Sure.
Back there, but I feel like don't sleep on him.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna come in and he's gonna hit some. There's gonna be some bangers coming in there, and we're gonna be like, like 15 years from now, Tom Cruise gonna be still looking amazing for some reason. Scientology. Yeah. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
No, but no, I just well, I don't know what was it. I got to
The final scene.
But his performance it's just commanding. I absolutely love the impact. Mm-hmm. It feels the payoff is great for him, and like the build up and the actual reveal for that is wonderful.
There's just there's something so raw when he hears that she's died, right?
Yeah.
He like walks away, the camera tracks him, follows him, and then like he turns around and he's just this emotional wreck, right? And also like Rita Moreno's performance there, like she obviously is great, but like she brings this. I like the substitution of putting her character in for Doc.
Yeah.
Right. because she brings this kindness and sincerity to her performance, whereas the character of Doc is very much this almost father-like figure to the Jets, right?
Yeah.
And he's trying to like interject some thought and some wisdom to these kids throughout the movie or throughout the play, but like her character, she is just focused on Tony and his well-being and helping him turn the page and become a new man, right? And it's so sincere. And when she delivers that line to him of like she's dead and she's there for him and he takes off, like it's a really beautiful scene.
I will say I kind of wish they held on Ansel's like they track back and he kind of backs up to the wall and he kind of like there, but then they cut back to Valentina, and I just wish they held on Ansel just a little bit because he takes off running, which is fine after that. But that's one thing. I will say I love the juxtaposition of Valentina. The dissonance that is in there. That she's Puerto Rican, but she's the mother. Like she kind of like mothers the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really powerful. Like I said earlier, Chino coming in. What's his name? What's his name who plays Chino? Brian. Sorry. Josh Rivera. The hatred.
Yeah.
I love. I love that I don't know the poetic nature of this soft-spoken kid that we don't get much of, right? But he's the one that gets so much hatred that he goes out and he wants to bring vengeance and gets vengeance, but breaks him, and that then introduces hatred again into Maria.
This cycle of violence, man.
Yeah.
It's that scene where Maria she picks up the gun, right? And she just like, how do you fire it? Do I just pull this? Like, how many bullets are left? Is there enough for each of you and me? Like, this is where, again, like seeing Rachel Segler, like her performance, not only as her musical performance and choreography, but like her acting performance, really just like, I'm like, dang, this is her debut film. Like, this girl's great. And she's had, great hit, wonderful movies since. And it's just like, there's that monologue that she has as she's pointing everyone. Is there enough to kill all of you? I can kill now because I have hate now.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just this cycle of violence, this cycle of hate that based on prejudices and biases that we have that just continue to pass that along. And I think the movie does a wonderful, beautiful, and raw depiction of what that is when it's not nicked at the bud.
Facts.
Dude, I love this movie.
I'm glad,
This is what I want for my musicals.
It's all downhill from here, apparently.
It's all downhill from here.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of films out there that do capture what it is. I think part of it is like, this was a beloved project for Spielberg.
Yeah. He talked about it for decades.
He threw in a lot. And he really brought in the big guns. He brings it home, and it's a reason why we have this genre. Mm-hmm. People like Spielberg who come in, who understand what they can do, what this is here for, to take us on a journey, to make it magical on screen. That's what these musicals are here for, and that's what that's the bar we should be going for. And
I almost think of like. I mean, obviously, he's talked for decades that he's wanted to adapt this. What would this have been like in the 90s? When
he was in like some big heydays.
When Steven Spielberg was just knocking hits after hits, right? Like, I'm glad that we got it now.
Okay, that's the only thought that I could have. I don't know why. I don't know why then would not have been as great.
I don't know what. I don't know if it's just he was doing a lot of like. I mean, you had the Jurassic Parks, Hooks, such a variety in genres at that time, and I guess you could argue he still was doing very different genres still when this came out. But I don't know. There is this level of like. I watched this and I'm just like, this is a man who's been at it for decades, and this just seems like he's got it.
I think what it is yeah. I think what it is like, as filmmakers, there's that story that you want to tell. Like for me, Zorro.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna make it one day.
Yeah, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
Right. Even to say if I was like in the heyday or like I get to a point where I start making once I start making films and I get something into a film festival or something and I start getting what XYZ. There's something about that's a story that I want to just tell, just with a good justice of like why it was so magical for me, and want to give it additional justice, right? In my way, and feeling there's a level that you're like, I can't touch that yet, right? Because he could have. I without a doubt believe that he probably could have gotten the West Side Story made multiple times.
Yeah, look, I'm just thinking, even like what he has done with Janice, the cinematographer. Obviously, in the 90s, he did Schindler's List.
Yeah.
They did Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
But then in the 2000s, you have Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, War of the Worlds, which it's a rocky production, but what's his face? Steven Spielberg has talked a lot about the pains and what he learned from War of the Worlds, right? Then he goes and does Munich that same year in 2005. They did Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, War Horse later in 2011, Lincoln, the BFG, Bridge of Spies, The Post, Ready Player One, and then they come together again to do West Side Story, and they did The Fabelmans as well. But like there is in the 2000s, there's this big learning curve in genre for Steven Spielberg. We need to do like a month of just Steven Spielberg movies, by the way, side note.
Yeah.
But like with like the learnings from Minority Report to Catch Me If You Can, like it is beautiful, like camera movement in that movie. Like just in Catch Me If You Can and Minority Report, there is just like that to me is when like Steven Spielberg and Janice really like meshed and understood each other, and like here's how we want this camera to sway from this part of the room to over here as we see Leo run away and like the shots and whatnot. Like that, those two movies are the ones that define them, and you see a lot of that camera work here in West Side Story. And so like I'm glad. Yes, he could have made this movie many times over the decades, but I'm glad it came out when it kind of glad because it didn't perform as well as I think it should have because of the pandemic. It was right after. But in his filmography, this is when this movie needed to come out. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah. I think that this is going to age. Like you said, I think for millions of future Americans, they're going to end up watching this version and it will be impactful.
Yeah. And again, the 1960s version, for any cinephile out there,
yes,
it's just a powerful movie, right?
Absolutely.
And this one is just a complimentary addition to it.
Yeah. So great. Well, we thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful journey that we reminisced on this masterpiece of a film. And we hope that you well, leave us a review if you found it helpful, or leave us a 1-star review so we can review it on our pod and share why you think this podcast suck. In any case, we just love it. We also want to let you know that starting in December, we will be taking a break as it's holiday season, and we just want to spend time with our family, take time to reset, so that when we get so we can get ready for our third season.
Our third season, yeah.
Wow.
We'll be starting it off again with our annual best and worst
of
the year. So follow us on all the socials, as we'll be putting that survey up there, and you can vote on what was the best and the worst of the year. We like to have some quirky categories.
Yes.
We just want to hear from you, really.
In all case, again, thank you so much for listening. And so we want to help. We want to get this product bigger because we want a bigger audience to talk about all these cool things.
Lastly, we want to hear from you. What do you don't like about West Side Story? What did we miss? You can always message us on any of our socials at Real Chums, or feel free to email us at your@realchums.com. You can connect with me on Twitter at Marstrosity, MARCTROSITY.
And me at Ruby_TV. Join us next week as we continue our month-long viewings of Broadway musicals adapted to movies with the iconic Chicago.
This is the Richard Gere Renee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever that.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I've never seen this, so I'm excited to watch it.
Oh, it's good. I'm so excited to rewatch it.
Okay. Go watch it. Join us next week.
We'll see you later.